Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time you're watching this. As always, thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. So, back here with another live stream. Hope you guys had a wonderful long weekend. I know it's Wednesday, so we usually have these Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 to 9 or 7 to 9 p.m., depending on when I can get on. Sometimes we do some 3 hour specials, jump on at 6. But been real busy, so I've been jumping on at 7 lately. But anyways, we gave everybody Monday off, Labor Day, hung out with the family, spent time barbecuing and having a good time. Went to the splash park Sunday, had fun there, took the kids out. So if you're not familiar, out at this place called Lake McSwain in my area here, they have a floating like trampoline slash inflatable just wonderland. Like there's all these like obstacle courses, jumps, and slides. There's the blob bag that shoots you in the air, all that cool stuff. So the kids were doing all that. So hope you guys had a good time and ready for an awesome wacky Wednesday or just wild Wednesday. We're back. So going to give you guys some fall transition tips. Don't forget to smash that like button and share the video if you guys think it's good. That way we can attract more people to the crew here. Have them smashing the like button and joining in. But anyways, let's get to it. So, like I said, tonight's video we're going to go over mostly the fall transition tips and tricks for catching them in different bodies of water when the nights start cooling off. So, as you guys can, if you're in this area, we had a 104 degree, 105-degree day today, brutally hot. And we're going to be in the mid 90s all next week and the week after, it looks like. But at nighttime, still, it's cooling off. Now, these next few nights, not so much. We're going through a little warm up. Fish activity is probably going to pick up a bit, and it's probably going to stay good into the next few weeks here, um, especially once we get down this hump. So it's 104 today, 104 or 5 tomorrow, and then 95, 96 the next day. So we're going to have a 10-degree temp drop, and then it's going to level out. So I think after a day of that temp drop and it levels out, we should have some good fishing. Nights will be cooler. Highs will be in the mid 90s. So the nights will be in the 60s. So they'll start cooling off. Fish are going to sense this. They're going to start moving. They're going to start congregating and chasing bait fish. They're going to start pulling off usually and going a little deeper. Again, I really like to focus and maintain my attention in that 0 to about 35 range because I know a lot of times bass are in that area. Hey, how's it going, Charles Shot? Oh, yeah, I'll let you know if you win. You still got the card coming. I got a Bass Pro Shops card I got to get to you. So I can mail it to you, but if you want, I could just drop it off when I see you or something. Or come by and swing by and leave it somewhere like under the mat or something. So I just got to go pick it up. I've just been space cadeted. I was thinking today too. I gotta get that card. So sometimes it's a couple weeks late. So apologize for that. But yeah, we're going to do the raffle. Again tonight for the reel. Uh, Unfortunately, so I got donated 2 reels, and it was from Keeping It Real from one of the members too on the Facebook page, one of the YouTube members, and we didn't get a lot of spots sold, unfortunately. So, anyways, we're going to raffle this off tonight for those guys. They're $10 a spot. I have another one I might try to re-raffle off. We got to take care of my aunt's funeral. I think is going to be the weekend after next. So she's already been cremated and all that. For those of you guys who don't know, my aunt passed away from COVID. And so we're taking care of all that, doing all that. So tonight, we're going to raffle off the reel here. We'll do the wheel of names. I'll go check up, make sure we got everybody. We've got some giveaway announcements. For example, when the September giveaway is going to happen, what's going to be the prize. So last month, Charles Chalk, congratulations, he won. And you guys can win twice, 3 times, so there's no limit to how many times you can win. You can win in a row. And so for those of you who might be a little confused, every month we have a members giveaway here to support the community and to say thank you. So I like to give a little bit back. And usually it's fishing related or stuff like that. But if I know you're into something else, or if you're interested, I usually do some cool things. For example, I had a guy who really into collectibles, got him a autographed baseball, one of the ones there. So either way, anyways, yeah, I'll get that to you. So I'll just go pick it up. So the $50 Bass Pro Shops gift card, that was last month's giveaway. This month we're going to be doing the giveaway again. We're shooting for the 14th, so I'll make sure I notify everybody. And then we might actually do it on whatever the live stream is, but that's usually when I'll post it, and I'll give it a few days, or we'll give it a few that way all the members get a chance to see it, so it's not just instantaneous. And then like the following week we'll actually do the actual giveaway, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. So I think, like I said, we're doing that September 14th. We'll post the official notice. How's it going, Racho? What's going on, guys? Hopefully you guys have all had a good weekend. Make sure you guys leave a comment in the comment section if you guys had a fun weekend. Let me know what you did, because I'm interested in hearing your guys' stories. So it's always a great time to see you guys, everybody show up. So thanks for joining the show tonight. But yeah, we're talking about all the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. We're doing a little synopsis, or a little preview, so to speak. And so we're going to raffle off the reel. So I have two of them, but we only sold enough spots for one. So we're going to raffle off the reel tonight. And then, like I said, we're going to announce and do a post for the members giveaway September 14th. And we'll give all the members a good week. And then we'll probably do it on like the following week, do it on the live stream, just like we're going to do tonight for the reel. So make sure you guys keep posted for that. For the genuine everybody out there, for the members, subscribers, and viewers, we're going to have a random giveaway coming up here. My birthday's in November, so we're going to do something where I'm going to give back to you guys. So I'm excited about that. And then Christmas, we got an awesome giveaway planned for the whole community. So as far as all the members of the channel, so not just not the subscribers, but everyone who's helped out and become a member, you guys are all going to get something cool from me this Christmas. So big thank you to you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's about all we'll be able to cram into tonight's show. Hope you guys again had a great weekend. Sorry I missed Monday because Labor Day. Figured everybody's going to be hanging out, partying. So was I, hanging out with the family, doing fun stuff. Had a good weekend. Now I got a really hard work week ahead of me this week, and one next week too. So pumped to try to get this stuff done and make some money, right? But yeah, so anyways, let's get back to fishing, fall tips and transition, because we're not there yet, but when the nights start cooling, the fish really feel it. They can tell when that water temperature drops a little bit. And also I think another bigger thing is water can tend to take a little bit of time to cool down, but the real big giveaway is when the light changes. When the hours in the day start getting shorter, the fish know what's up. Even if it's 100 degrees and it's blaring hot, you can kind of think of it like the flowers and the plants and the fields and the fruits and stuff like that. They all usually start flowering or fruiting at a certain time, and then they're done at a certain time, regardless of the weather. Sometimes the weather can screw them up a little bit, right? But they usually have their allotted time span, and that's all based off of light more than it is weather, right? Weather will affect it, but light is the ruler of it. And I think that's a big deal with the fish too. So regardless of the weather, when you notice that after the solstice, and when there's a big difference, when there's hey, it's getting dark an hour and a half, 2 hours earlier, but it's still 100 out, trust me, the fish know they're getting ready. So they'll move before you realize it. And that's usually when it's the dog days of summer. It's at the end. The light's already changing. The days are shortening, but the days can still be hot. Those fish can sometimes throw you for a loop because they can already start moving and heading to their winter or fall haunts where they're going to chase bait fish. They might go into, because the bait fish, everything's moving and doing its thing according to the light structure mostly. Weather obviously does affect it, but I personally believe that light, the days of how long the days are, that's a dead giveaway when it's time, basically, right? When the seasons are changing. So harder for us as humans, I think, to notice that. It's easier for us to feel birds cold, it's hot, but I think the animals down there, especially fish, they're really in tune to when the days shorten and lengthen. And so that's one of a big tip I think a lot of people don't think about is be prepared, not just when the night's cool, but when the daylight starts getting significantly shorter. Watch for that pattern to flip and change, and the fish will tell you. So if you're on them, like if you've been destroying them, don't change what you're doing until the fish start changing. Don't just assume, okay, well, they're gonna, they're still hanging on, the incoming mouths or whatever, where the fresh water's coming in, and they're sitting up in shallow water or 10, 15 feet, 20 feet deep, and they're just still doing, or top water destroying stuff. Then keep doing whatever it is you're doing. But like I said, when the light changes and flips, regardless of the weather, I'd start, if the bite starts to change and flip, I'd instantly start changing and looking, and now, okay, these fish are probably headed back down towards main lake, main body, where in the winter they'll sit on main lake points or in cuts in big groupings. Sometimes I'll just plastered right down to the bottom, not really moving, or just slowly moving around from one spot to another, or where there's a lot of bait fish down there too. And the bait fish will do the same thing. And then the fish they'll turn on and they'll feed for a little bit, and then they'll shut down and everything shuts down. And you can get them to bite when the shutdown happens, but winter fishing is really crazy. And there's a lot of the time you can get fish out of 60, 70 feet deep, and some nice ones too, because they will go that deep. But I think the bigger fish, in my opinion, are in about the 45 and up range. And there will be fish, I think, that are out over 60, 80, 90, 100 plus feet of water, but they'll usually be 40, 50 feet down. I think a lot of the times these little guys tend to just sink really far down and go really far down. I mean, the biggest I've caught out of 60 plus is probably 3.5, 4 pounds. But I pulled a ton of 2 and 3 pound fish out of, or two plus, and some threes. Yeah. So 2 to 3 pound fish out of 50 to 70, I'd say. And plenty of threes and fours out of 50 for sure. But those fish will die in a tournament. Hey, how's it going? Nice to see somebody fresh and new on. I don't think I've seen you on before, Coin, but glad to see you on tonight. So thanks for watching. But yeah, so those are the two biggest tips I can give you, along with a third here, is when the bite seems to flip, pay attention. Has the light shortened? So if you're on a summer bite, so let's rewind, and you're on a hot top water summer bite, jerk bait bite, or even a bottom bouncing in a certain way, depth or pattern, and it's holding. Because what will happen in the summertime is when it peaks out and it's like brutal weather for like a month, the pattern gets to a certain way and then maintains that pattern for like that whole time, right? Because the weather is just very similar. There's not a lot of dips and changes, and whatever dips and changes there are, you may see that in the fishing a little bit. But you get on a pattern of, let's say, top water or whatever have you, and just destroy them in the summer, and then when that bite shuts down and you can't find them, or the fish get farther and fewer in between, or you start seeing them on your fish finder but you can't get them to bite, that's a good sign that transition is starting to happen. In which case, there's a few things you need to do. Again, the light will tell you to check, okay, and the temps at night. And to me, that also means slow down then. That just means slow down. So sometimes the change in bait size and color will definitely help as well. But in all factors, if you just slowed down, I think the fish production is still going to be there. For example, you may still be able to get some nice topwater fish. You just might have to slow down. Um, Crankbaiting, maybe a little deeper, just a little slower. Same thing, slow roll a spinnerbait. Jig, instead of popping it and hopping it so fast, take your time a little bit with it now. Not necessarily a creep and crawl like you're not winter fishing, but my point is slow down from summer fishing because you pumped, you're used to summer fishing, you're used to power fishing, you're used to casting and going crank baiting and jerk baiting and top water fishing and whatever and jig fishing and moving and covering and zipping and zooming. Now it's time to slow down. So and that don't mean like you don't have to still do that kind of stuff, but in the retrieves, in the amount of time you give a spot, give it a little bit longer, vary up your retrieves. Doesn't necessarily, like I said, mean you have to be winter slow. That just means slower than what you were doing. And then variate until you find that magic spot. And that's usually what it's been for me, is just go a little bit deeper and a little bit slower, and you pay off because the fish are basically moving and changing spots. And they'll right now in a lot of places, let's say you're fishing a lake, the fish are probably were in the northern end of the lake where there's as much fresh water coming in as possible. And if there isn't any fresh water, they're going to be at the first deep, clean water from that. Or on the flip side, if it's pulling water, they may be down a good amount down by the dam because that's the only part of the lake now with current in it. So if the river arm dries up and there's no more water coming into the lake and there's no fresh springs or areas that are known to put a little bit of water into the lake from below or from the sides or above or whatever, then you have this kind of stagnant lake and it's draining steadily this way, right? So what'll happen is in the first kind of clear, good water, there'll be fish waiting for stuff. As the lake lowers, they'll pull out and drop a little bit, and they'll hang there. And anything pulling out and escaping with it, they'll get, right? Or they will also head down to the south end near the dam. That's usually been my luck. So especially in a drought season. So I would assume most of the best fishing at McClure, Pedro, New Maloney's, and Tulick would all be more towards the river arms, and then maybe the upper and middle portion of the lake, main lake points. That's what I would have been guessing people are doing good on with things like top water, deep water cranks, maybe even some jerk baits or crank baits, the shallower, but also jigs. And then the almighty drop shot, I'm sure, has also been landing lots of guys' fish that are down there hanging out from the heat. They're not quite moving around or doing their thing because there's always going to be lots of different fish doing lots of different things. So also smash that like if you guys get a chance. Don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you guys want to talk about any specific topics, or if you just want to tell me how your weekend went. Now, anyways, back to fishing. So, yeah, the change is happening, at least from what I can see. And so I would assume the fish have been in those locations. Now let's use some flip spots. If you're in a river, they're probably downstream. They're, most of the river arms are drying up, so they're going to be in puddles and deep spots. They're going to be in areas where water collects. They're going to be more towards the delta if there's any in the river arms still. In certain areas there will be. But the delta, in a system like the delta, I think what can happen this time of year is the fish can go real deep. I was on a really hot bite. I'm going to release a video. I'm working on it of LV 500, and I was using it in a winter pattern where I was casting it out and I was just lifting it and jigging it, and it just go, and then it would fall on top of weeds. I'd feel it, and then I would just pop it, and it would never barely ever catch any weeds. And when it did, all I had to do is, okay, it's got weeds, let it drop a little, and then pow, pow. and they just rip right out and then fall down. Sometimes I get bit, but most of the time, I'll tell you right now, hot bite at the Delta right now. Bass, striper, everything is just crushing it, but not really. Watch, I'll walk you through. So imagine you got this long part of the Delta, and when the shore starts to go up and there's all the weeds and stuff, I'm fishing that edge, that weed edge where it drops off, right? I'm bombing my LV 500 and I'm just doing this with it. Little hops, but enough to feel the vibration. What color do I recommend? Right now I'm using like a ghost minnow. There's Aurora Black is one of my favorites. Delta Crawl is also really good. So those three. And then there's, I think, a sexy shad type one. I don't remember what the name is, but the white one with a little bit of blue, maybe just a smidgen of yellow in it, but it's mostly all white. Those are my favorite, basically four, I believe. I forgot the name of the other one, though. But Aurora Black, Delta Crawl, and Ghost Minnow. And I'm just taking it, and like I said, I'm using my pole, and I'm just going like this, a light lift, so that the end of my rod is only flexing maybe this much. So I'm assuming my rattle trap's probably not getting more than about 18 inches or a foot off the ground, and it's just, and then falling, and then I let it sit, and I let it sit, and it takes me a minute to work it in, just like I'm Texas rigging, and I'm bottom bouncing. And what's happening is I'm getting the bite either right before I expect it to hit the bottom, or right when it hits the bottom. I'm just feeling this little small, just, and I'm just, then I unload and I reel on them. I'm not setting the hook. All I'm doing, because I'm fishing with my rod tip kind of high for the sensitivity. So I go up and then down, and I get bit and I'm kind of high, so I don't have time to swing on them. So I just lean back like this, so I'm only getting a small swing. So I'm not swinging real hard, right? I'm just getting a big lean and twist, and I start reeling. It's almost like drop shot fishing, but these fish are coming in, they're eating the LV, and there's no need for me to rip it out of there. I'm gripping it into them like how you would a drop shot. I'm explaining, and I'm finding I'm catching almost all my fish. They're not throwing the hooks. I'm catching bass, I'm catching striper, I'm catching everything. And I'm telling you, when I swing really hard on them and I stick them, boom, and like I get that when I'm doing the yo-yo, and you kind of pop it a little higher and you get that slam, and then you set the hook. I'll get them in sometimes, have one hook stuck in like the bone or gristle or somewhere nasty, and then I'll see the other ones with these giant gashes, right? And the hook's all loose in there, and this giant gash, it comes right out. And I've seen them when they throw it all the time, they got these giant gashes in their mouth. But if you just lift just like a drop shot and you start reeling, like with if you have a high speed reel and you just start booking it, that and the right rod, oh man, I'm not even having to set the hook. And I caught over a 10-pound striper. I caught like 3-pound largemouth. We were catching a bunch of fish. We had a great time. So me and Virgil went, and he got a big bass on a drop shot, and I got a big striper on an LV 500. So we had a great time. It was just slow fishing. I told him, you got to slow down. Once we slowed down, we were just kicking them just left and right. I got probably 50 fish, and he got maybe 12 or 10, but he got the biggest bass, and I got the biggest striper. So, but we caught a bunch of fish, and the LV is just, man, it's on fire. They're pressure sets reeling in. Exactly. I'm not doing a hook set, as I'm finding, like I fished, like I said, I used to have a Kelsey membership, right? And people think that place is super easy, and it's not. It's a very tough place to fish. Actually, get my butt kicked there sometimes. But I perfected that kind of technique at the Kelsey Bass Ranch, and those bass were super finicky, and they would just barely tap my LV 500 as if it was like a little tiny bluegill bite. And I would just do the pressure set reels. And if I didn't, and I noticed at first, I'd hook set, I'd lose a few of my fish more than if I didn't. And then when I landed some, I would examine them and I'd see these huge gashes and holes ripped into their face by my hook sets. And so I started realizing two things. One is I do less of a hook set now and more of just a pressure and then reel pressure set. And then I also, as soon as I realize it's a big one, I'll let it go a little bit, depending on if I'm in docks and then what area I'm in, and do I have to pull the fish out of or away from cover. That's different. Then I'll kind of muscle it. Then as soon as I know it's out and away safe, I'll let it run the direction that it's wanting to a little bit, to give it a little bit of, let it run some energy out. And also so I don't rip my hooks out, because you can straighten your hooks, you can rip them out, you can also snap your line if you get a double digit bass or a real big striper. Now I've caught a few, quite a few 8 and 9s. I've got double digit out the Delta on a square bill and a bunch of 8 and 9s. And I tell you, I've lost a lot as well. And I think a lot of the ones that I lost, I just did vicious hook sets on them and then usually overfought them, and they snapped my hooks or straightened my hooks in most cases. I've had a few double digits that I'm sure were double digits or either giant stripers that slammed me, and then I was near a dock and I was creeping it alongside something and they just get it, boom, and then go to run and I try to turn them and it was just nope, nope, nope. This is like a 20-pound striper, or this is 10, 12-pound bass. Like, uh-oh. And it just goes and then gets you up into the under a dock, and it takes you into the boat stuff, or just your line snaps, you can't control them. I lost so many big fish at the Delta fishing in the backside of slips and fishing in boat slips and around them. And these monster bass would come in, smash my lure, but I'm using a square bill, and then they would take me. And I've learned that there's a time to try to control and guide the fish, and the need to do that is right away. If you're in a setting like that, you need to risk snapping your line or the hook to turn the fish. And then once you do that, you can let them go a little bit, pull yourself away from the whatever cover or the docks, whatever. Use your trolling motor. Don't be afraid to move with the fish and follow them around and stuff. But and again, get them in the boat as quick as possible. So if you got the right gear, you got big giant hooks, big O-rings, you swapped your stuff out and you can do it. Sure, get them into the boat. That's a big thing, because if you let them run at the Delta, they're going to punk you. But I've seen them straighten big giant hooks, just straighten them right out, because you just muscle them too much. And see, if a big bass, if you bring it to the surface and it opens its mouth, and you just hork that sucker in, that bass isn't going to be able to really close its mouth and dive back under, because it's trying to throw the lure, but it's also got all this water coming in and its mouth is open. And so all this force keeping it open in a sense. Plus, it's originally came up to try to throw. Oh yeah, they're so strong out at the Delta. So they come up to try to throw that lure. They're going to keep their mouth open, and you can haul them across the top of the water. When they do that, you can get them in pretty quick. You risk losing the lure, and you have a lot of weight and stress put on the line, because that fish isn't in the water. You got a lot of it out of the water now, and so you have much more weight put on those hooks and the line and everything. But you can get them in like that, because as soon as the fish closes its mouth and goes underwater, now it's water dynamic, and it can start smashing and diving. It can take you into a log, a big weed pile. That's the worst. You got a monster on, you fight him for a few minutes, it's probably a double digit or a 7, 8 pounder minimum, probably a 9, maybe 10 or more. I have so many just monsters, and you've even seen them, big old flash, and it's just this huge bass. I'm sure it's not a striper, but it was kind of far off, boiled and rolled, or even jumped. Looks like an 8, oh shit, and then they dive and they go into a weed patch, and they just keep going and going deeper and deeper into it. And then you feel it, and then you screw up. And instead of immediately going to them, if you try to muscle that, what usually happens is once they got enough weeds that is separated between you, they just rip right off the hook. Basically, you get there every time, and you pull your square bill or your lure out and there's no fish on it. Only a couple of times have I got back to that pile and the fish was still in there when they were mondos. Like I've got an 8.5 like that, and I got it in, and I thought I lost my fish, and I was like crying literally because I seen it. It was huge, and my buddy was with me, Jeremy was with me, and we get it to shore, and we, I think it's just a big pile of weeds, and I'm pissed because I can't feel nothing, and I start digging through the weeds, and sure enough, like a treasure, I just uncover an 8.5 pound bass. I'm like, oh, like Russo's right there. We're just fishing the slips, walking along, fishing at nighttime, crankbaiting right along the shore, the in between the riprap and the boat slips. How's it going, Gabriel? Yeah, I've lost some monsters out at the Delta. I lost like a one that looked like it had a 5 gallon for a mouth, like a 5 gallon bucket. I lost a huge beast one time, spawn right up on the shore, right where I knew she'd be, and she ate a brush hog on a U-head. And when I set the hook, I brought her in, and I didn't realize how big she was because she was swimming towards me. So I was just horsing her in, and she was coming at me, and I didn't know nothing. And 2, 3 feet from the boat, she just rears up like Jaws, like like my heart stops and shit. Big bass. I'm just like, I don't know how big. I'm thinking a teener easy, probably 13, 14 pounds. I don't know. Can't wait. Maybe it was only 9 or 10. Who knows? But the biggest bass I've ever seen. It was right in front of my face. And I've seen like pictures of big fish, right? But the biggest I've seen in real life, like up close and personal, I think was like 12.5. Jeremy's bass. I've got some that were close to 11. Mike's got one that was right at 12. But Jeremy's got a 13.5, but I was there for his 12 and some, I think it was like a 12.5. And this thing was definitely, it looked bigger than that. It was huge. And the stupid thing threw my lure, like it just went pew, and the fish just gone. I was crying. That's the day, actually, I think I've told this story. That's the day after that, I was heartbroken, and I went to Garlic Brothers to go do my normal routine because I launched from Lois Park, and I went right into my little favorite cove right there, and I fished in there, and that's where I lost something between like 13, 14 pounds, I believe. Could have been a 10, 11, a 9, who knows. Biggest mouth and body I've ever seen. So fat it didn't come out past like its belly, but like a good amount of it was out. Like, but the tail was, and it was just a huge prego monster, 5 gallon bucket is what it looked like. I was just shitting bricks, but yeah. So that happened, and then what happened is I drove to Garlic Brothers, so I was kind of pissed. I fished Garlic Brothers for a little while. I went in and I had some drinks and I ordered some food. I went back and it was spawn time, right? So I just went back and I started pounding the slips, pounding right up at the shore at Garlic Brothers. And right in the back where the super yacht's at. Hey, how's it going, Mike? Right in the back where that super yacht's at. Bunch of dinks, summertime, it can happen. So right in Garlic Brothers in the very back where there's like this dock and there's usually like this super yacht tied up, right to the left of that, in between the two poles, I casted right up and underneath this tree. This has all the shade. It's high tide. And you could see like a bed. Couldn't really see the fish. Cast it up. Don't boom, set the hook. I could tell it's big right away. This thing just starts roiling in the water right there in a foot or two, like another double digit. I get it about halfway to the boat. Same damn thing happens. It just shakes right at the boat, shakes its head. So I'm trying to get the net out and get towards it, but it's about 2 or 3 feet away or more, maybe 6 feet away, probably, because yeah, it's out of net range, and jumps. I have the net right next to me. I don't have it in my hand. I'm still fighting. I grab the net, set it down. I'm fighting it. I get it in, and I knew, like, again, because as soon as I hooked this, I seen it spin and like just throw the water up like an explosion, and then come in, dive, do all this stuff, and then it jumped, and I still had it on, and I knew this thing was huge. Like it looked probably minimum of 8 or 9, max maybe 10 or 11. So this one was definitely a little smaller than the other one, but I would fully believe it was another double digit or close to it, right? Shakes me, breaks my heart. I break down and I honestly started crying right there a little bit. And I begged God, I was like, I've never lost two double digits on one trip. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to get a third. So I said, you want to prove to me that you're real, God? I said, well, you give me a third, even just a big one. Just give me a monster. You give me a third double digit or third big girl. And man, I'll go back to church. I swear I made that prayer. And I stressed out. I caught a couple of 2s and 3s. Got one that was like 4 pounds that day. And I was so bummed out. Well, I'm heading back to the launch ramp, Lois Park. And right there on the left, again, in my little favorite cove, I go in where I lost my 14. And not at the same spot, but the next dock over, because we have a few docks that we really like there. And that's the next one, like our second favorite. So this was our first favorite. This is where I lost the big one, was actually right in front of it. And then the second one was at Garlic's, right? But this one was at the second dock, like in that cove. And sure enough, I get another monster, and I forget what it was now. I weighed it out of scale. I want to say it was 7 and some change or 8 and some change. And like I really went to church for like half a year after that. I should still be going right or something, but yeah, that was some crazy stuff right there. I really had that happen. Like I couldn't imagine what it would have been like if I would have stuck all three of those fish and kept them in the live well and like had pictures holding like a 14 and a 10, and then like had somebody hold the 7 right in front of me or something. Oh, dude, I get a chub thinking about it. Oh, damn it! But that's coulda, woulda, shoulda game. But like I said, I've never lost nothing like that in my life fishing in one trip. Two, oh no, I've lost double digits. I've lost them. It breaks my heart. I'm like king of losing double digits. This is so funny that I since I've had my GoPro, I haven't lost a double digit that I've had on. I've caught every single one of them. But with that being said, I had bad luck. We had one die, but that's mostly it was my fault. But sucks. However, um, I lost way more double digits than I've caught. I've lost so many, and how do you know it's a double digit if you didn't catch it? Trust me, there's a few like right in front of my face, some of the biggest fish I've ever seen, like just right in front of my face. Yeah, it just kills me. And then almost all of the ones that I've lost were either on a bottom bouncing Texas rig or a square bill crankbait. And I've lost like a 12 plus at Don Pedro on a Texas rig with a buddy as there as a witness. I've lost so many double digits and 8s. Let's just say 8 pluses. I've lost so many 8 pluses at the Delta on square bills. Like I learned my lesson. Like I got real good with those things. And that's where I've learned not to just super set into those fish and not rip such giant holes in their face, and then pick and choose your battle on how you control them, when you control them, if your gear isn't like hardcore heavy duty, right? Because you may have 12-pound test. You may have stock O-rings and hooks, because the Ish Monroe is just one of the best square bills, but their hooks will snap or straighten if you get a double digit on and you don't give it enough quarter. So you got to know when to try to turn them and force them depending on where they bite. So pay attention also to your surroundings when you're fishing them. So for example, if you're fishing at the Delta, you see this lane, this beautiful little area, and it's a cast, and there's only a couple, and you're in the front of the boat, you got this, there's 1, 2 casts, and if you do get a double, how are you going to get that thing out of that narrow spot into your opening, let's say where you're at? So you got to have a little battle plan already figured out. And then, for example, in some of that, if you could picture that situation, I would basically need to muscle the fish at first, and also if I can't and it's that big, I'll stick my pole into the water so that the line and pole are as deep as possible, so that if that fish runs, that fish isn't going to be running with my line next to all the dock stuff and wires and crap down there, so that I might eventually have a chance to turn that fish and bring it back to me. And then if I can get it towards the open, that's when I might let it play a little bit. It just depends. You do want to get the fish in as quick as possible. That's definitely, don't overplay a fish because you can lose it. Um, be surprised how many times I've got them in and they came off in the net, or I got them in and the hook just came right off. I'm like, oh my god. So wonder when the tadpoles will be ready at the Delta. Yeah, you know what? I'm a burnout on that. I should look that up. You'd think, being into fishing as much as I am, that I would know the life cycle of everything. Like, that's not a bad subject for any one of us to study and get better at. That's probably a good idea. So I'm telling myself, study up on the crawdad lifespan, on the tadpole lifespan, on the bluegill lifespan, so I'm more in tune with everything. Because you are what you eat, so you got to follow the bait fish to catch the bass, right? Anyways, at the spot at the Delta, me and Hilfno, we came across this area that was just infested with tadpole sacks just everywhere. I'm just like, oh my god! In the summer, or not in the summer, but in the fall, late fall, early winter, when those have all hatched and there's tadpoles and they start growing legs and they start moving around, I go, oh, and even between then, those bass are going to be in there jacking those things up big time. So I fully expect this little area we found to be really on fire in a few months. Hopefully, we'll see. Maybe I'm just tripping, but it's one of the areas I've caught double digits. And well, not me actually, because I got my double digit at the Delta at Garlic Brothers, but Jeremy's got a bunch of double digits out of this particular area. Let's just say that. And I've got 8s out of there. So that's where we found all those tadpoles or frog sacks on sticks, and just a bunch of them healthy, still, doing good. So hopefully those should be, spawning and opening up soon, and everything coming out and doing its thing. So I'm not sure if they'll go till next year. I don't know much about the frog. I know that it shouldn't be that long. They should be hatching already. So anyway, yeah, honey hole. I'm like, and they're in the back of a cove. So it's this big long cove that is shaped kind of like a L almost, or like a boomerang. And in the very back, all rimmed like this, there's just some sticks and debris and brush down there. And it's just all pure frog eggs. So, and I mean, ton of them, more than I've ever seen in one spot. And I've seen them a lot as a kid, or in the creeks or in other areas. But this was bad, like a ton of them. And the water looked healthy still. There was just a ton of frog eggs. And then right by the frog eggs, too, I got like a 3-pounder on a crankbait. So I was like, I can't wait till these hatch. I'm like, yeah, super excited. We'll have a good video for you guys then. Okay, so tonight, like I said, we were going to give some fall tips and tricks, fall transition. So if you guys missed it, make sure you guys can rewind, check it. But we'll finish up and kind of recap on everything. When the nights get colder, when the days get shorter is the first clue. So when the days get really shorter and it's noticeable, even if it's still really hot out, pay attention to that. So if the bite starts changing on you, you probably should get ready for that fall transition bite. If the nights get colder and all of a sudden that bite switches on you, get ready for it. That usually means a little lower, a little slower, and you can still do what you were doing. You can still get a lot of fish. Top water may shut off. Depends on the area and what's going on. But for some, you guys may find that it's completely shutting off, which is what I found, or that it's just getting far and few in between the bites, and or they're only biting in the morning. Now they're kind of acting like, where they're only hit in the morning or in the very, very sunset. They're not hitting throughout the day. It's not, or just not that good. And with the crankbaits, if you're using them the same way as normal, they're not hitting as well. You're getting less fish. You need to kind of just roll the crankbait a little slower. Spinner baits have really turned up good, because with the fall transition comes 2 things: wind as well as the temp change and all that, and light change, which is actually three things. So one of the old sayings in fishing is in the wind, spinner baits and rip baits. And rip baits would include LV 500s and jerk baits, stuff like that. So jerk baits, LV 500s have been good for me. And, jigs, bottom bouncing slow. So I went to the Delta and I made it a point to catch a fish on every lure almost. So I got a fish on a jerk bait. I got them on crankbaits. I got them on spinner baits. I got them on jigs, LV 500s. I got them on everything. And we had a great time. Caught a lot of fish. Not a lot of big ones. We got a few decent ones. Virgil got a really nice bass. I got a decent bass and a really large striper and catch and release everything. So we had a good time out there. I'll be putting that video out soon. But yeah, in a nutshell, it's time to slow down a little bit, fish a little bit deeper. That doesn't mean you have to go finesse. It's not winter time yet. You don't got to crawl things. It just means that slow your crankbait down. You can still deep water crank. Just, a lot of times in the summer, speed is actually key. So we're used to that, right? Slow it down. That's all I'm saying. That's the biggest tip I could actually give you for a fall transition. And if you were getting them at the north end of the lakes, rivers, systems where the fresh water's coming in, if you're getting them in certain areas of a pond or whatever have you, they may be starting to move now. Comanche is a big giant flat, and what I would highly recommend is staying in the northern area, fishing any of those offshore islands up there, and also cover some water perhaps with a deeper diving crank, but slow roll it, and then maybe a jig to pick off bigger fish and try to avoid the smaller aggressive little guys that might hit your stuff. There's a couple of coves and some stuff about mid-lake, up like, I forget, I could pull up the map and look, but there's this area where it goes real shallow, and then there's this drop off. It's like a canyon almost where the river arm goes through, and then it goes into where campgrounds where the boat launch is at, and then you go around to the right to go upriver, right around that curve and that cove where it goes to from shallow to a nice drop off right there. I've done real good right out there. And so basically, if you're going out of the launch, as soon as you get past that shallow on the flat on the right, and it goes around and it goes out, that whole drop off and point area right there, I've done okay and good at, as well as upriver, where everyone else goes upriver. But two things I would say is don't sleep on some reactive or power fishing on the rock walls or any island tops. A jig can also do really good. It'll allow you to cover a lot of water fast and eliminate stuff. So you can pull up to an arm, right? Let's say you got a main lake point here and a main lake point, and then it goes into a creek channel or just a cove, and then it comes back out, right? We'll break that down. You pull up, come up to that main lake point, throw that jig up on it, and work it down to 20, 30 feet, 35 feet, and move it, swing around and move around on that point. Nothing there. Maybe try and kind of like in the cut, if there's a secondary point or anything down there, search in the gully right in the middle, and then, swing in and, cast up to shore, move it in. And you can move a jig semi-quickly and still be efficient and still be actually kind of slow because of how fast it drops. So then you hop it and and then you wait a second. You can kind of cover some good water with it, but don't over power fish it. Remember, right now I'd slow down a little bit. And the bite may be real subtle. It just depends if they switch. They may go into a feeding frenzy mode where the bait starts getting balled up, but I don't think that we're nowhere near that yet, right? So there's some that'll be doing that, on bait balls, but definitely. But I think here shortly you'll be able to take like an LV 500 and you start, not shortly, but in it's like a month or two. month, maybe not even. I don't know. It depends on the weather. Be able to get out there and start spooning and doing stuff like that. So that is all coming, but it's not nowhere near there yet. I would still be on like a semi summer pattern, and I would be slowing down though. So like slow rolling a deep diving crank, slow rolling a spinner bait or an underspin. Pick your poison. So whatever your strength is, that's what I would go with, but just fish it a little slower and a little deeper. But that doesn't mean rule out shallow. What I would simply do is extend my cast. So some guys get in the mindset these fish have to be from 1 foot of water to 20 feet, and then they just go smashing all around the lake. They may be a bunch of fish in 20 to 30 feet though, and only a few scattered fish in one, at that particular day or in that particular area of the lake. So if you're not on a pattern or anything and it's your first time there, that's again, it all depends. Like, see, I haven't been to Comanche in a long time, but I've been this year and I've fished it, quite a few times, not too much, but I fished it a little bit. And I've always done okay. It just sometimes it's a struggle at first to figure out where the hell they're at. They may be upriver. That's probably, like I said, where I'd start, but I would go to about midway. Wouldn't mess with the south arm or with the south end with all that big shallow flat stuff. It's just all dirt, and shallow plain stuff. There's not a lot of structure out there. There might be a lot of fish hanging out just on some weird stuff if you know any of those areas. I don't particularly. What I know of the lake is my strong suits are where the drop off is around mid lake, where it goes around the corner there. There's a couple of points way out on that side over there on the right hand side and going up, upriver. So good luck out there, though. Hope you guys have fun and do good. But that's how I would tackle it. Is I would be looking at covering some water, but doing it thoroughly and efficiently. So I would pull up to like a main lake point, probably as would be my starting point. Jig fish, maybe deep water crank, couple, depends on time of day, some top water or something, maybe a jerk bait parallel, crankbait parallel, and nothing, no followers, no bites, nibbles, no fish. Then I might then go to remember I did include a jig, so then I might have to pull out something like a Ned rig or a drop shot, give it a few casts, and if I start catching fish, then I know, hey, they were there, but they didn't want nothing to do with those other baits. Especially if I threw a deep diving crank or a jig, and I didn't get any bites, and I did 10 casts of each, and in the same area I just cast in, I toss a drop shot in, and I get one, and it's a decent keeper. Boom! I'm like, I'm not a fool. I'll be drop shot, and I'll start sticking in that depth zone. So break an area down. Trust that there's fish everywhere in the lake. So take a spot and break it down and utilize that to put yourself on a bigger pattern. So, and I usually start with something that's got a main lake point, but that's also got a creek, a cove, a cut, something going back, and with some secondary stuff, maybe with some structure, so that I have a lot of different opportunities and things that I can fish to rule out. And then if I do that for an hour, hour and a half, I either catch fish or I don't. And if I don't, I know to not do anything or whatever I was doing there. And it could also be the side of the lake that you're on. So a lot of times summer and winter can be like this. The fish will stack up on one shoreline and they'll be in an arm or in an area, and this side won't have nothing barely. And you drive over and this side's just loaded. It's like sometimes they want that sunny baked side and sometimes they want that more cooler side. So even if both sides are exactly the same, structure and angles and stuff, just sometimes they seem to want to be in that warmer water that gets more sun, and sometimes they want to be in the cooler stuff. Usually the summertime give you an idea you might want to start on the cooler side. But they're weird, like we think of it's still hot when it's 95, but if it's been 105 and now it's 95, that's a 10 degree temp drop. So that's something that means something, you know. Let's read some comments. You guys comment below, smash the like button, and share the video if you guys would like. And if you're new here, you know, thanks for watching. Hopefully, I entertain you enough to get a subscribe out of you. But hey, let's read some comments here. So we got to do. Thanks, brother. Going to check it out this Saturday. Appreciate it. Right on. Come and catch on the next one. Having a good night, everyone. All right, Coin. Thanks, man. Appreciate you joining. I appreciate you being here, and it's my pleasure to entertain, give some tips and tricks and stories. So if you guys, we do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 to 9. A lot of the times I'm here 7 to 9. If I'm set up and prepared early enough, I jump on at 6. But anyways, thanks for seeing you on tonight. But for the rest of everybody, let's get this raffle out of the way for the people that have put in. For those of you that haven't, just bear with me for a few moments. We'll get this out of the way here. And if you're interested, you can help donate. I can put you in the wheel before it's too late. But what we're doing here is we were trying to get some money to help lay my aunt to rest. She passed away of COVID a week or more ago, and yeah, it's been, thank goodness some of the other families stepped up. So we've had some help. We've had some people buy some tickets, and so we've had some donations. I appreciate that. But we're going to get on Facebook right now. Check out everybody that's bought some tickets and how many. And we'll put them in the wheel of names, and we're going to have our giveaway tonight. Do. And then also for everybody else, don't forget we have our members giveaway coming up on the 14th, and it'll probably roll until like the 21st or something. Depends on all the logistics. That way we give all the members a chance to get in on it. So wait a minute. Every member gets put in it no matter what, but I mean so that they get a chance to respond to it. That's what I mean. Because a lot of times they may not have gotten to watch the video. They may not even know they won. So we got to make sure we let everybody know. All right. So yeah, I posted on Facebook. All right. All right. So we got Racho Bunch. Let's put him in here. Good luck, everybody. A lot of you guys have been some long-time supporters. I appreciate everybody, and also the new people. Welcome to the club. Thanks for being a member. And I want to make sure I start doing some more of these. What do you call it? Joseph McBride has 2. Man, I done lost my train of thought right there for a second. Charles Chalk. All right, and then I don't know who else we got to check on the other. Do. Thanks for bearing with me, folks. Appreciate it. Sorry, it's it's been a crazy week, so. All right, man. Maybe that's it. let's see here. We'll go to my page next. All right, folks, leave a comment below. What is your favorite fall go-to lure and bait? What's your favorite type of trip lure to use this time of year? Well, I believe that's it. Shoot. Well, at least we had some donations and help, so appreciate everybody. We got Racho Bunch, Joseph McBride, and Charles Chalk. Let me check my PayPal and Zelle to make sure anybody else. I don't want to forget anybody. I feel horrible then. Not slamming any beers tonight? Nah, not tonight. I figured, you know what? I might as well just, and then we got Jeffrey Garcia. Woohoo! All right. Good thing I didn't forget him. So Jeff sent 20. All right. So he's got 2. All right. See, good thing we didn't forget that. And then, yeah. Oh yeah, about the beers. So for a little bit, I think I'm gonna go on I'm gonna try to just take care of my body, go on a little bit of a diet for a while, water, take care of myself for a little bit. But I'm not giving it up for good. It's just, I think if anything, I'm going to start like having a margarita or something, a mixed drink. I don't know. I'm not a big, I don't know. My stomach, I just like keep not pounding beers, jack myself up. You know what I mean? So then I can check Zelle. That'll be the last one. Let me check Zelle real quick. And then I can make sure I haven't forgotten anybody, because then I'll feel bad. Like, dope. Lucky winner here will get a new Creed 13 fishing reel. My phone has not got enough to do a does not have enough to do a flash, but I'm not going to need it. Let's record this. Here we go. Good luck and congratulations to whoever wins. Let's see who's going to win here. Bam. Joseph McBride. Congratulations. You won yourself a reel. Let's show you guys real quick. Let's go here so I can see. There we go. Oh, died. Womp, womp, womp. All right. We still got one more I could try to raffle off. We just didn't have any luck with it. I'm not a pushy person, and it's hard for me to ask for help. So on my Facebook community, I put a few posts on my fishing page. I put a few, I shared a GoFundMe, and just thank the Lord, though. We had somebody that my aunt kind of stepped in and saved, took care of the cremation and all the other stuff. And we have some other family that's helping. So I'm going to take care of insurance, the church, the services, and help with catering and some other stuff. I'm going to step in and take care of the rest. So that's all done and said. So Appreciate it. So Joseph McBride, make sure we get this to you. Congratulations. Facebook is I'm Sam Matthews on Facebook. The my Facebook page that I own, basically, like I started it, is Bass Fishing Lovers. We got 12.2 thousand members in there, so it's a cool little page. A lot of bots and spam, but we weed them out. Every time we find them, we basically delete them and remove them. So it's a pretty cool page. You don't get a lot of cruddy. There's not really any body or spammy posts. Um, so it's a pretty decent community. Post a picture of a fish and ask people what you think. You'll get hundreds of responses. People are pretty open. Not a lot of negativity. We try to make sure we don't like to foster that kind of environment. I'm a big believer, and I don't want to be a babysitter and an overlord, but it's real important that, though, at least that Facebook page and the YouTube channel, I want to make sure that I don't risk getting it shut down or kicked off. So I got to make sure we keep people in line as far as misbehaving too crazy. That's also why I've toned it down. On the live streams, man, I would get shite faced, or Casper would come hang out with us. But I mean, every once in a while, I don't mind doing the Joe Rogan experience. But we gotta grow the channel, and to do that, I can't upset the YouTube algorithm gods. We gotta play by their rules. So hopefully we can grow the channel and do some cool stuff. Though we do have like a members section, so for those who support the channel that way, they become a member. We have monthly giveaways. They get early access to all my videos. So when I go fishing, I do something fun, I release it to just them. I'm also going to be doing some like I figure we'll do something where the members are going to have the option to do like a one-on-one, or just a personal live stream to help give them tips or tricks on a certain body of water. Like I can sit there and pull up a specific lake, and we'll look at the topographical map together. I'll send you to, like, I'll be like, hey, go to this .com, whatever, and pull this up. We'll look at the same structural maps, topographical maps. So you can look at Google Earth. We can look at the lakes, river systems, whatever you want help with. We can look at them dry. We can look at them flooded. We can look at them mid-stage. We can see what kind of different structures are there, what kind of cool stuff there is. So that way, even if you're not local, there's a lot of cool stuff we're going to do on the channel here, where we're trying to help the community. So like I said, once a month, member giveaway, no matter what, all members are entered. And then early content. Now, when we do grow big enough to have merch, members will probably get like a free hat and shirt for all the members. And then once we're selling it, you get your discounted stuff. But we got to grow and get to that point. So it's cool. I'm monetized. I get a little ad revenue, but most of the support is from the members. That's like the biggest way to help the channel there. The live streams, we get some people on. Sometimes we get 10, 15, but I'll tell you, I think I did two big mistakes. I think, for one, I dropped off for like a week or so, week and a half, because I was so busy in the summer. I do heating and air conditioning. There was like a week where I made one show in like a week and a half, like in like 10, 11 days, I made one show. And I got punished a little bit for that. But I think the biggest thing was I did a paid ad campaign through Google and YouTube, where I wanted one of my videos to get boosted because I thought it was hilarious. I was like, people are going to love this video. If they see this video, how could they not like love the channel? But I forgot to, like, this is my first time with Google and YouTube ads, and I probably should have selected the best part of the video. So it starts from the beginning. So they have to watch it so far through, right, to get to certain points or spots. And it adds only so many seconds or whatever have you long. So I should have really probably focused on like the funniest, most hysterical part of that and put it out there. Number two, and then my cap, man, I ended up spending $500 the 1 month I got billed. I was like, holy smokes, because I like set a limit of 100, but I thought it was monthly, and it was like a weekly limit. And so they banged one of my videos out, bam, but then like it didn't even get me a lot of subscribers. It just got me a lot of views. And I'm like, well, that was pointless. So, but I noticed one thing that happened as soon as the ad campaign stopped, and I stopped giving Google and YouTube my money to pay for one of my videos to be put out there. And I'd never done this before, right? So I hadn't really done any ads. I hadn't tried to like grow the channel like cheating. I didn't try to like pay to play, right? And so I figured, well, why not see if we can attract more subscribers by putting out like a cool ad, you know? What's it going to hurt? And you know what happened is as soon as the ad stopped, I believe like I could show you guys my traffic tanked. Like YouTube's not recommending it. Maybe people aren't getting their notifications. I don't know. So crazy stuff, but it's weird. So I make sure I try not to cross the old YouTube overlords and whatnot. I try to keep the content at a pretty neutral level now. So we'll get there once again where we're getting 15, 20 people on a night or more. And hopefully, you know, where we get trolled. I love getting trolled where random newbies find the channel and they try to troll or mess around. I love it. I actually enjoy the interaction. I'll troll right back, or we'll play along with them, grab the green screen and mess with them. So, yep, exactly. You might get a lot of likes, but not a lot of subs. And then, like, a lot of it too is framing it right. So, I'm not a marketing genius. I probably should have grabbed a certain section of the video and really made sure. And then there probably I have probably even better videos because I was going off of an emotion of hilarity and fun. And I put the video out there where my buddy falls in the lake. One dude's passed out, the other dude's licking his head. They're like just the pole falls in, just everything you could think of went wrong on that trip went wrong. It was the funniest thing. It's hilarious. We're laughing like the whole time. And we catch fish. I'm catching a ton of fish. They're struggling. They can't catch anything. It's like watching the Three Stooges go on a fishing trip. So I thought it'd be enjoyable, but I don't know. Got a lot of views, but it just didn't get a lot of traction, right? So um, that probably could have been partly my fault too. Like I could have probably, I have videos where we're catching 25-pound, 20-pound bags of fish, where we're catching 30 fish a day, and they're almost all 3 to 5 pounders. I have days where I'm out there with like with Matt Frazier and Nick the Informative Fisherman. I've got me videos with me and Ryan Cook, lots of the cool dudes. Small Fry Rye, who knows Greg Blanchard. He's got a cool little YouTube channel himself. Really nice guy, by the way. I've done a lot of, crazy fun adventures with some people. It's just, you would think, eh, but we'll get there slowly but surely. These live streams are kind of to be a more personal approach, a way to us all kind of have this shared community. I believe probably a lot of you guys listen to this more so than watch it, and I really understand because I do that with some of my favorite podcasts and other stuff. It's the message and it's the words I'm looking for. Sometimes the pictures help, right? I'll bust out some lures and I'll do tips and tricks and stuff like that. I try to connect, and also I like comment section spinning and moving. I like seeing people with each other too, because that's really cool. Sometimes I may be talking and yapping too, but the community is sitting there talking to themselves as well. So it's like we're all engaging in this big group conversation, like a conference call. So it's pretty cool. I like that aspect where if you really get into it, man, and you start really diving deep, one guy asks a question and then other people will play on that or ask other deeper questions or, and then they'll start answering each other. So someone might, because I might have a point of view too, but the other people may have fished different things. And so this is always an open channel. You're always more than welcome to say what you want, in the comment section. So when people are helping each other, it's pretty wonderful to see. The communities also came together pretty well so far. Uh, helping out with the toy drive, stuff like that. So if you guys also don't know, I do a toy drive to take care of needy kids for Christmas. This year we're kind of lagging behind last year. Don't really have as much stuff as we did last year, but we still doing pretty good. We got like five or six real actual bikes for like 6 to 8 year olds or something like that. We've got a bunch, I think like 8 training bikes for like 2 year old to 3 year olds that are not pedal. They're like balance bikes, kind of like scooters that you sit on. And then there's what do you call? We have a ton of toys. Got a box sitting in front of me. There's all these right here, guys. So that's all thanks to you guys and gals too. So big shout out for the supporters there, because that's what I do with whatever. Sometimes I get a 150 every month or two from YouTube, and I'll go buy toys with that. Or either when people donate, we do a toy drive trip. So I take people fishing, and they donate money or toys, and then I, take care of kids. So hopefully, this year we'll catch up. It's been a little slower. It didn't hurt either. Too last year I had a Kelsey Bass Ranch membership. This year I don't. So I know a lot of people really want to fish that place. I can't argue the point. I spent $2,500 to get a membership there last year, and it was fun. It was a great time. I loved it. I wish my family really would have allowed us to experience it better, but unfortunately, they're kind of like really the not outdoorsy type, whine and complain the whole time, you know. While I could like jump in the lake and clean off, or what I mean, just not care. You know what I'm saying? So I understand though. It does get a little miserable. There's no showers, and the bathrooms are just porta potties. So camping can be a little bit of a nuisance, let's say, than bugs and stuff like that. But to me though, I don't know, memories, man, the s'mores, the fishing, the stories at night, the fire. You can't have fires anywhere nowadays. They're too afraid to burn everything down. Well, this place you can have fires and stuff. So there was a lot of good reasons to have it, but this year I couldn't justify spending 2,500 when I barely had it. Um, Last year I was emptying my life savings to start my business, my HVAC business, and or it was actually the year before. And so like partway through I decided like I'll take it and I'll make that investment. And then that was up this year earlier. Yeah, right before it was like June, I think, or something like that. So no more Kelsey membership, but I can take people to the Delta or any of the lakes. So, um, you know, just letting everybody know, if you guys are local, you want to go on a fishing trip, hit me up. Otherwise, spread the word. If you guys are on my Facebook page, and you guys know anyone interested, I'll do another post and remind everybody, hey, we're doing this again this year to help kids out. And as it gets closer to Christmas, hopefully we'll get more minds on the prize. But the problem is as soon as we get about a month from now, and the really windy, cold weather starts in about a month and a half, fishing's going to tank as far as how many people want to go. Nobody's going to want to go in the rain or in the brutal cold of November, December. So September, October is all I got pretty much. So we're working. We'll see what we can do, but I'll keep everybody posted. We're going to do a video on it. So when we're done, we'll we'll have a what do you call it, a like a culmination video, showing uh, like from the beginning of the year to the end, just like we did last year, Fish Miss 2020. So that was a pretty cool one. If you guys are interested in checking it out, if you haven't seen it, you can look in my channel, or search my channel, Fish Miss 2020. Had a great time. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff we like doing here on the channel, helping the community, trying to help out. But it wouldn't be common sense fishing if we didn't act a fool sometime and have fun sometime, right? So let's say we got about a half hour left here. I've got one heck of a crazy week coming up. But let's top this off with I was going to tell you guys a crazy story, but I think I'll save it for next time. We'll save it for, we'll call it Freaky Friday or Freestyle Friday, right? We'll save it for the end of that one. But I had a funny story. I'll let that brew. Let you guys remind me of it next time. But because that one might demonetize us, so I've kept it clean so far. I think I don't know if I don't think I've dropped any f bombs tonight. I usually don't, but sometimes I do if I get frustrated or I go on tangents. Um, but yeah, so let's not ruin tonight's show. We'll save that for a different one. Yeah, I like telling, I'll tell you guys stories and fun stuff, adventures that I've been on, crazy stuff that's happened. And you guys who've been here long enough, who have heard of some of them, I've got some wild tales. Some fun things I've experienced, and they're true tales. They're not tall tales. I've got some adventures I've been on. Dang near, might as well call me Huckleberry Finn, right? Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, all wrapped in one. All right. Any questions, any topics, anything you guys and gals want to talk about? The last half hour of the show, usually we just shoot the breeze, talk about what's going on, leave the floor open to the viewers for comments, questions, and any topics or things you guys want to talk about. Otherwise, then I usually continue on with the subject of the night. And we'll dive back into stuff like the fall transition tips. um, just remember, in my opinion, the two biggest giveaways in your area should be the lights and the temp switch at night. So when you feel the bite start to change, be wary that you're probably going through that situation. If you've gone through a nice steady uh, bite pattern throughout the summer, and you're hitting tail end of summer, it can happen as early, in my opinion, it can happen as early as like August, um, and it can happen as late as like late or mid September. But eventually, I think September is always the kind of deadline, because the light, even if it's really hot, the light gives it away more than anything. So the nights, the days becoming shorter. I think that's a dead giveaway to the fish. So you may get lucky and your bite may extend. But if you have particular weather, a more rainier season or more colder year, you can start to see that weather change in late August, and the nights are already getting, or the daytime's already getting shorter, anyways. So that nighttime cooling along with the daytime shortening can drive them fish a little bit sooner. So it all depends on the year. Right now, I'd say it probably started about a week or two ago, like 2 weeks ago. I would bet you maybe even three, 2.5, 2 weeks ago. I bet you most people noticed their topwater bites slowed down, or that their whatever bite they were on, it's kind of changed. And a lot of people I know are stroking them on drop shots and bottom bouncers and stuff like that at the Delta. Um, I'm using, me particularly, LV 500s. Having a grand time with them right now. I'm loving it. So on Pedro in October, how much weight do you think it will take to win a TOC on Pedro in October? Right now, I would say 14 to 18 pounds max. I don't think it's going to be a 20 pound. You might have it, Pedro, always the possibility of a 20 plus pound bag. Oh, 2 day tournaments, just double that. Usually you're going to have a strong day and a weak day, even if you you're not going to have too many people that have two super solid days. So I don't think it's going to be 40 pounds. I think you might have someone that did 18 or 20 on one day and then 12 to 14 on another. So I'm going to put a if you can break 30 pounds, I think for 2 days, I think you got a good shot at it. I think that right now, with the lakes being as tough as they are, I haven't fished Pedro too recently. I did maybe about 3 weeks ago, and it was kind of tough 2 3 weeks ago, and it wasn't too tough, but it was like a little bit slow. And we got fish, and they were where I thought they'd be too, and they were just biting slow. It actually took me a while because I was fishing too fast. But like I said, okay, back on topic. I think 14 to 16 pounds a day. So I think if you can hit 30, you're sitting really good. Um, don't mean that you're going to win, but it may not even be 30. You might have a 12 or 14 or 15 pound bag win it. But when you're talking TOC and you're talking the best anglers, um, even then there's some bad days. But I'd assume 15, 16 pounds a day probably is going to put you in the top 10 or top five. It depends on how many anglers are in your TOC. So, like Future Pro Tour, their TOC might have 100 anglers on day one who qualify, or if they mix because they have northern and they have central, so they have two divisions. And if they hold the division, they hold it all together at one time. They take 50 from the north and 50 from the south or from the central, and then they whittle them down to the top 20, and then day two is usually top 20. Day one is like everybody's all in. So it just depends. 27.5 wins it. Yeah, Racho's about right, I bet you. BBT 180 boat field, way too many for Don Pedro with our water level. Um, Yeah, that's going to be crowded. If you're talking, they're doing like Future Pro Tour 180. I'll tell you, someone's going to find the big fish because they school up. So someone's going to have with that many boats. Someone's going to probably have a good bag, but it's going to taper steeply, I bet. So you'll have maybe a 40-pound bag, maybe a 30-pound, 35-pound bag. Then you'll start trailing really bad. You'll probably see a ton of 20, 25-pound bags, 22-pound bags, stuff like that. 8 to 12 pounds measured one day or weighed one day, something like that. There's all that traffic with all those boats on a 2 day tournament. You're talking a brutal, brutal beating. And so, one thing I would say you can do if I don't know about your tournament ethics, but it's not illegal that I'm aware of, and I've resorted to it one time, would be retreads, depending on how well day one is and how bad day two is. By the end or middle of day two, you can actually catch fish that were released day one. That's frowned upon, but you know what I mean? I don't know. Each tournament may be different. I don't know if it's legal or not, but retreads, basically, they're going to just all hang around the dock, the marina, the area. They're going to be hanging out, recuperating. And unfortunately for them bass, their body will be ready to feed and eat within a day of being released, if not sooner. So they'll be spooked. They're been held in a live well for 8 hours, 12 hours, or a few hours, then hoisted and bagged and dragged and tagged or whatever have you, and then finally released. So for sure, 24, almost 24 or later the next day around that same time. So before the end of the tournament, they're ready to eat and they're not usually far off. And you're talking 180 boats times 5 fish each. If they all got a limit, that's a ton of fish in the Fleming Meadow area if that's where you're weighing in. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to fish around there. And I tell you, anybody fishing for fun, you go and you stick in the Fleming Meadow area and you fish 2 or 3 days after the tournament, you're going to do real good because they'll take a while to move out and scatter out. They did a study on this. It was in Bass Magazine, the recent one too, and they're tagged a bunch of fish and watched what they do after they were released. And a big portion of them stayed real close to wherever they were released. So a lot of cool stuff there. But yeah, Pedro, shoot, I got a couple of sweet spots. So I'm Young GP. If you've seen my videos, or if you've watched me at Pedro, there's a specific point that I would probably like guard with my life towards the last half of the day. Like I would probably run and try to find stuff and figure them out. And if I couldn't, there's always a go-to that I have there that I can pull. If I camp, I can pull a fish an hour, even usually more. And they're always 2 to 3, 4 pound fish sometimes. Not always, but there's good fish there. And yeah, I've caught a lot of good fish off of a specific point in Fleming Meadows, and got a double digit out of Mexican Gulch, and we've got a couple double digits over the years out of Mexican Gulch. So hope that helps. Do good out there. Good luck. Right now, I've been out of the tournament circuit because I need to get my live well fixed, and I also have an issue with the hose. So my boat was taking water on, so I had to seal the hole up real quick, so I wouldn't take any more water on because it wasn't a hole in the boat. It's just a hole in one of the hoses that takes water in, and it's all underneath my gas. It's all behind my gas tank. Oh, it's just a nightmare. So I'm gonna probably have to take my boat into Bass Pro Shops or somewhere and actually have someone do all that legit work. And so I figure I'm gonna wait till winter to do it when there's not as much boat work and boat traffic. Hopefully the prices will be a little bit better, more reasonable, and I can get a better deal on that. So we'll see. But I hope to be tournament ready by next year, and hope to really get into them or fished with people in it. And I've been fishing. I've got here and here. I've actually got 3 or 4 over there. I think I've got 12 or so plaques from fishing, uh, all first through third. Future Pro Tour. Most of my wins have all been through there, but those are all in 2011 and 2012 fishing out of a rubber raft. I got one plaque fishing in a boat in like, was it 2000? It was something like that right after then. But all my other ones, they all came out of a rubber raft with a friend. Fishing slow, fishing, taking our time. We use a milk crate, 12-volt battery, a trolling motor, and a piece of wood. And then we had a 2.5 outboard motor, a little gas tank, and or no, it like not gas tank, but a tank of gas because it had a reservoir like a lawnmower, and you just had to fill it up. And then we'd be able to go so far, and then it'd run out of gas, and we had to fill it up again. So yeah, we really had to learn to try to pre-fish a lake, figure out where the fish were at, and then we put ourselves to that area and we just break it down like as if we were on shore. Sometimes pull that raft right up to shore almost, and then just sit at a spot and just painfully slow fish it, and we'd actually whack them while guys were just smashing around looking for fish. We're just like do, and we won quite a few tournaments like that actually. Folsom being my most most uh, proud achievement was just wrecking like 120 bass boats at Folsom in 2000 and took first place in a rubber raft, and they were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe it. They were like, "What?" They were like, people were like, "Where did you get them? Where were they at?" And I swear, all the fish were in one spot. Like we couldn't catch a fish anywhere else, but in this one spot, all we had to do was just sit there and cast, catch a fish, throw it in the live oak, and then once we had our five, we literally were doing so good, and we forgot we didn't have a scale on us, so we were eyeballing our fish, and we were like, which one looks bigger to you? Oh, I'll throw this one back, and we came in and we just destroyed the whole field, and they thought we were cheating. Like, nope. Well, I'll take a lie detector test. Like, no way. Only because of when they seen the fish, nobody said nothing. Everybody was quiet because there were spotted bass, a couple largemouth, but they were all just beautiful, healthy fish with not a single scratch on the fins, no redding. They weren't in cages. They weren't on ropes or, no cheating. I don't roll like that. But we beat them that bad. People were like, confused. And I swear it was more about we just pre-fished and we found an area that had fish, and literally we couldn't go anywhere else and catch fish. So we just stayed there and put the biggest hammer down on these bass at Folsom that I've ever done in my life. We had like epic bag. It was like a 20-pound bag on a day where people couldn't catch a single fish, and there were like 30 or 40 blanks. There were a gang of zeros, like 100 field or something. It was massive, and it was during the drought too. And Folsom was all low. It was crazy, and guys were so pissed off. It was like late, it was like sometime around now or something too. It was like hot, and it was either like June or something, or it was like August or September. I don't remember, but it was hot as hell and windy though. And half the day it was weird. Half the day it was dead still with no wind, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, the wind came. And for us, it didn't affect nothing. We were just killing them the whole time. It was all about the spot. And guys were talking about trying to drag drop shots in 60 feet of water, 50 feet of water. Guys were talking about going all over and throwing everything. And guys were trying to, there were guys saying they were literally just driving around trying to graph and find fish. And like everyone was just like, the lake's empty. And we just were like, not right here. We were like, oh my God, this is like the greatest day ever. And we were in a rubber raft. Oh, we were even on Comcast television. They televised our first tournament, and we won that one, but not. We actually won two Folsom tournaments, and one we did pretty good. It was like a grind for our fish, and we won. But the other one was a blowout. Like we were just throwing fish left and right, and a couple of bass boats pulled up on us like, holy smokes, and watched us like in amazement, and we were just wouldn't leave. Like, nope, sorry, nope. We just stayed there, camped, and they're mad. We had guys got real close to us and try to, like, basically cheating, trying to catch our fish, and they still, like, I think one boat near us caught a fish. They were super stoked and they got out of there. And then other guys, like, you'd watch them inch as close as they like felt comfortable getting, and they were watching us. We were just throwing monsters back. It was so awesome. We were throwing 3 and 4 pound bass, or like 3 pound bass. We were throwing 3 pound bass back. Like, nope, this one won't call. And you could just see dudes just like, and that's another reason they believed us too, is when we pulled up the ramp, there was a couple dudes who were like, we watched them. They're like, what? And they're like, oh, it was the funnest thing ever, man. I'll never forget that. That's my favorite fishing tournament I've ever done. It was awesome. And I hate that lake with a passion because I've got my butt whooped there so many times. Oh, I hate that lake. I prefer, I'll fish the over Folsom. And I don't like Oroville much either, to be honest. It's all right. It's a good lake. There's big fish in there. I prefer, if I had my choice, obviously Clear Lake, Berryessa, Pedro, New Maloney's, Tulick, Eastman when it's good, Success, Salt Springs, Los Banos Creek Reservoir, Rancho Seco, and the Delta. You can keep the rest of them. I mean, I know Lake Amador kicks out some monsters like hidden. Like there's some times, especially at night. And I know that there's a bunch of sleeper lakes that have big fish too. They're like, ha ha ha, you fish your little areas. I'm just saying those are my like the ones I know have big fish in them that I'm comfortable fishing. And I would love to do more, especially of like Rancho Seco. Oh man, talk about a legendary lake right there. And I fished it before, but not, psh, not really. So I would definitely love to get out there and do some more fishing. I fished Berryessa quite a few times, Clear Lake quite a few times. Everywhere else, Los Banos Creek Reservoir's got some monsters in it. Sleeper little lake right there. Sub J Rod. So yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I want to take my LV 500 technique to the Los Banos Creek Reservoir. Yeah, that's what I'm doing this weekend. I'm going to go to LB. I'm going to go to the Los Banos Creek Reservoir, and I'm going to take my LV 500s, and I'm going to do my jigging technique because the Delta, that was on fire. So I better take some extras in case I get snagged up because I know there's some stuff in there. But yeah, that lake has got monsters. I want to get to Rancho Seco for sure, but there's a couple of little sleeper lakes too that are really, really, some monsters in there. Nice lakes. Lake Amador is a better bass lake than most people think, and that one's a tough lake for a lot of people. But hey, if you guys just got on, if you guys get a chance, these are watchable at any time. So the beginning of the video here was mostly tips and tricks for the fall transition. The middle of the video, we did announcements and we had the raffle, to try to generate money for, helping my aunt who passed away to, lay her to rest. We did one of these reels here. So we got the winner of Joseph McBride. So I'll tag him in a Facebook post, let him know he won. Charles Chalk is last month's winner, so he's got a gift card coming. And stay tuned. The members giveaway is going to be coming September 14th. And we'll give everybody a week so that they're aware of it. And then we'll do the live drawing on the 7 days from then, so a week from then. So probably the 21st, unless that doesn't fall on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, then we'll hit it on the day before or after. But yeah, something like that. You know how it goes. But yeah, thanks for watching and listening, everybody. Hope you guys have had a good night. We've got about 15 minutes left. If you guys have any topics or questions, you know what they say: speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm looking forward to really doing some doing some damage at some new lakes, or like at lakes that you guys may not have seen me at a lot. For example, I don't think I've done a video at the Los Banos Creek Reservoir yet, so I'll go tear that place up for you guys and show you how legendary that place really is. May take me a video or two, like a trip or two, to get on them fully, but not usually. In that place, I'll figure them out within a day. By the end of the day, I should have a couple nice ones. So we'll see how it goes. That's a great little fishery, and whichever way I got to catch them, there are a lot of different ways. I like using a jig there, chatterbait there, LV 500. I'll use a drop shot if I have to, fluke, a drop shot, weightless flukes, and a couple other techniques, Texas rig if I have to, uh, and a jerk bait. Those will probably be the main lures that I go take out there to try to them apart with, and I size on a nice meaty jig and an LV52 100. Hopefully get the fish, and with the fall transition starting to come off. But on, I expect that LV bite of mine to really be really key, um, and probably the jig. So we'll see what happens. Keep an open mind. I'll be ready to throw a third, a heavy contender, or even maybe more powerful than the jig. It just depends on how active the fish are. If the fish are more active, I'm going with the spinner bait. If the fish are more, then I might, if they're a little slower, then I might go with the jig. But you can get some monsters on those lures. You don't have to throw big old trout baits. I mean, don't get me wrong. Big baits catch big fish, and I really want to start tossing some big wake baits and swim baits a lot more, and we'll see if we can put some mondos in the boat for you guys this year or next year, right? Because we're getting close to the end. So, but hopefully before the end of the year, we'll catch a couple more big ones. We started this year with a monster. Last year, halfway through, we had a monster. So we got a double digit every year so far. We've got multiple eights and nines in the courses of the last 2 years. Not a lot, but we've got a few. And we got a ton of fives, fives and sixes. I got a ton of those. There's probably over 100, 200 5-pound bass on my videos, probably more than that even in the last 2 years. So we need to catch some more double digits and bigger fish. So I think we're definitely going to start hammering in on bigger baits and how to catch bigger fish. Um, Sometimes though that drop shot man catches some monsters, so don't sleep on that. It's also location is important. So finding the big fish. It's not always just like about driving all over the lake randomly throwing a swim bait or a spinner bait. You got to know where these big fish set up and how to throw these lures. So you're not going to just want to take a big swim bait and chuck it at the shore and reel it out. You got to get really close to shore when you're throwing a big swim bait and work that swim bait close to shore, or bring it out and bring it into shore. You need the bass to pin it into the shore or pin it against rocks or structure. Bass needs to feel comfortable that it's going to get this big meal. You're not really a lot of the time going to get these big bass out in the open water to commit. But when your lure bumps off of something or goes near something, the bass feels confident it can smash your bait against or pin it, like corral it, which is why the shore is so powerful. It's a big wall basically that the bass can use to just pin their bait. So parallel is important. Main lake points is still really one of the biggest factors in catching big fish, in my opinion. Most of the time of year, not always, but summer and winter and fall. And if you're not in a spawn category, I spend a lot of time on main lake points and areas near them, secondary points, and just areas off of main lake points or close to them. Uh, Not really had a ton of luck with mondos just out in the random middle of nowhere or any plain shoreline, so to speak. So, with those tips and tricks, hopefully you're armed and prepared to get out there this fall transition and pound them bass. So, main lake points is a big starting point that I would recommend. Remember to fish a little slower, because summertime speed can really be the key. Moving a bait very fast can actually would pull out some mondo fish, big fish, and also just get you numbers too, because the fish a lot of the time, if they get a chance to study a bait too long, that's not what they want, especially when there's a lot of bait, there's a lot of activity in the summer, everything is alive and vibrant, smashing and driving around, going all around. Those bass sometimes really need that speed to trigger them to trigger a feeding reaction, versus if they follow it with interest, but they may not commit if you are going too slow. But now all that, with the light changing, with the days getting shorter, with the nights getting colder, that is all starting to change, and you're going to notice a little bit of a change in their pattern. They should again slow down, go a little deeper maybe. That doesn't mean rule out shallow. is start shallow, but then at least finish deep or work it deep. And when I mean deep, I'm saying 30 feet right now, maybe, it's from 0 to 30, maybe 35. You can catch them in deeper than that for sure, but you really hurt the fish. You can risk killing the fish. And a lot of the biggest, like, bass that I've seen other people catch that I've caught, they're usually all in that 0 to like 35, 40 range. Um, I don't really hear of too many big fish coming out of anything deeper than 40. Like I said, I've caught threes and fours. I've got a five, but 8.5 pounds. My deepest fish that was also one of them, a big fish, 8.5 pounder came out of about 40 feet. So that seemed to be like that, and shallower. I've caught monsters, but never deeper than that. I've caught decent fish, but never monsters. So if you want to have a fun day out there, increase your chances of getting a big fish, stay 0 to 35, um, and slow down right now. That's what I would really, really focus on. So hit that jerk bait up. Try giving you a little bit of a longer pause than you were doing before. Throw the LV. Try working it with smaller hops and not so vicious, or don't just swim it, or like, don't just do, your couple average summertime retrieves. Use it like a jig, or a flutter spoon. Um, so when you throw a jig out there, maybe you're not popping it so much and hopping it and bouncing it. Maybe a little bit more of like a slight dragish hop, right? Um, so that's what I mean. So slow down and go a little deeper. And what I mean again is that don't mean rule out shallow. This means don't forget to include fishing a little deeper. So with that being said, hope you guys have a wonderful night. And don't forget, we'll see you guys Friday. Um, Again, 7 to 9, but I might pop on at 6. You guys know I shoot for 6 to 9, but if not, I always try to make sure I'm on by 7. Again, we missed Monday because it was Labor Day, so we had. I was trying to do a members only or a special show this weekend, and I was hoping to plan something like that, but it's not looking like it's going to be doable. I've got a lot of HVAC work coming up. I'm just juggling a lot of stuff right now. So I'd say in a week or two, when this all blows over with my HVAC work and that's slowed down, um, we're going to get more into the groove of things here. Hopefully 6 to 9, a little bit, some extra content for you guys and gals, as well as some more premiere and bonus stuff. So behind the scenes stuff, we'll do some uh, like, for example, live streams at the lake. I've got to take something because I usually do them from my phone. So I've got to take a tripod out there that I can set up my phone my phone on. So there's some things I'm working on in the process of getting together, so that for you members especially, we could do members only. We'll take a day out on the lake, members only. Let you guys come along, show you what we're working them on, and also take you along all the spots. Show you also how I find the spots, stuff like that. And even not just for non-members, just everybody, subscribers and regular viewers alike. Um, that kind of content. We're going to put some things definitely in the members only category, but we're going to have some cool things coming. And I know I've been telling you guys that, and again, I do heating and air. So as soon as this is slowing down a bit, to expect some cool changes. I'm going to invest a little bit in the channel here. And Christmas, I have a big thank you to everybody. So don't forget, stick around and smash that notification bell if not, just to make sure you guys get notifications when my videos come out. And like Mike said, see you Friday. Thanks for watching and have a good night. We're going to get off a little early tonight. So tight lines, everybody.